So the second album was the one that, made her, it took her from like somebody that musicians liked to somebody that everybody knew most people liked.
Yeah.
And that album it's really cool to me, like musically, because like the instrumentals of that album, I feel like it could have been put out like any time between like 1960 and 2010.
Oh yeah.
Like it really is almost timeless in a way. Like it's with the brass and just like the keys. There's not a lot of like electronic, like altered effects.
She says that. She was like, no, there's no fake horns on my track. She was like, I would never, ever. Like she was so like adamant about that. And in my mind, I'm just like, wow, the luxury to be able to say that. Like I would never have a fake band in my studio. Like, girl. And then it just shows how connected she is to the century before her, how much she appreciates that sound too. Because, I mean, we all wish we could have live musicians. If somebody's just like, Chicago's band is available for you guys this Friday if you just need some extra sounds in the studio.
Oh, can they do 6 to 8? That'll work for us. All right, thanks. Yeah, well, it's funny. I should remember the name of the band, but Mark Ronson actually brought like an 8-piece band from Brooklyn.
Whoa.
To do all the instrumentals for the album.
Nice.
Fuck, I wish I remember what their name was so I could shout them out, but you know who you are.
The Cyclones.
I think they were called Steely Dan. No, so that album was so cool because it just like, it's almost genreless and it's almost timeless. It walks this line between all these different things where like, if you were to hear this, like obviously we were around when it came out, so we know when it came out, right. But like, let's say 20 years from now, there's some kids, let's say they're on YouTube doing reaction videos. You know what I mean?
Right.
And somebody says, oh, do an Amy Winehouse song. They might listen to it and be like, is this from the 70s? Is this from the 80s, 90s? Like, I don't even know what this is.
Right.
And then somebody would tell them, no, this came out in like 7.
Yes.
And they would be like, holy shit. Like this, it has such a classic feel to it. And then her voice is such a classic voice to go with it that it really is. I really think that's an album that people are going to be listening to decades from now.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. I remember her thinking her last name was part of the shtick too. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, yeah. I'm like, that's not her real life.
Oh, because of wine?
Yes.
I didn't even think about that.
Because, like, Alicia Keys' name is not Keys, but she plays the piano.
Did I ever tell you I went to high school with her cousin?
No.
Yeah, my sister was friends with her.
In Manhattan? No, I'm just kidding.
Nah, you know where it's at. Anyway.
The Bronx. No, I'm just kidding.
But I never thought about Winehouse.
Yeah, so
that's actually really funny.
Yeah, I thought this whole thing was like a... You know what I'm saying? Like how Dean Martin used to get up and pretend to be drunk on stage, but it was apple juice.
So she might as well be Amy Alcoholic.
Yeah.
Shit. Sorry. I didn't mean that. Sorry, Amy. Yeah. Okay. So that album is just a classic. Mm-hmm. Everybody probably knows at least a song or two from that. Rehab was the big hit, which is so crazy to hear that song now. It's just sad.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was kind of sad the whole time, but it's like, knowing how it ends up, it's just like, fuck. Like, we all saw this coming. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, she was basically telling us what was going to happen. Yeah. Really, really annoying. But she did say, I like to hear people say these things. After her first album, she was like, she's pretty proud of herself. And she said she could die. If she died tomorrow, she would be happy because she made an album that she's actually proud of. After the first album. The first album. So that's nice. Yeah, that was really great and really nice. Some of these things are just really short-lived, and it's unfortunate, but definitely plagued by a lot of demons because, I mean, wow. When you think of, like, another short-lived talent like Rory, who drank and Rory Gallagher. Yeah, Rory Gallagher, famous guitarist. Just in case people don't know. You don't know who. You don't know? No, I'm just kidding. You better find out. You better ask somebody. Yeah. Ask us. We're Side After Dark. We know a lot about music. Also, listen to our music wherever you listen to music.
Somebody like him who died too, and then you see that as like tragic. You're just like, oh my gosh, like how that happened and stuff like that. But it's different when somebody's like telling you all the time in their music, like, you know what I mean, and their private life kind of like overshadows their music.
And that's another thing that's interesting is like from like an industry perspective, like this is how fucked up the music industry is. Like if she's selling records, they have no reason to really want to help her. And Correct. If she's getting more publicity from falling apart, basically, which is selling her music more, if like these fucking record execs are not going to have any reason to really want to clean up the act.
Right.
They're like, oh, this is a cash cow. You keep doing you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When it's literally, she's really writing songs. They're trying to make me go to rehab. I'm like, nah, fuck that. Well, if you don't go to rehab and you don't quit, there's really one other thing that happens eventually.
Yeah, it's a shame, a real shame. I don't know. It's just a bad case, like that first marriage. I mean, the guy, I heard him in an interview, and he was just another young kid that was like addicted to drugs. It's just like, what do you want him to do? Like in a way, too. It's just like you could say he was the problem, but not really. Like no one forces anybody to take drugs. She went and she kind of like befriended him again, like, you know what I mean, and started doing drugs with him. And like, you know, what's he supposed to do? Like, no, I don't want this famous girl around paying for drinks and hanging out and taking me to the best concerts and shows. Like, I mean, what's he supposed to do? You know, so, but that was definitely tumultuous. It's not the first couple we've seen like that, right? We've seen Sid and Nancy. That's another thing. I thought they were trying to pull a Sid and Nancy on us, and I was just like, bleh. Like,
you thought they were purposely trying to do that?
Yes. Oh, okay. It was just bothering me the way like her life was going, and I just don't like that, because I was wondering, because I like to like kind of deep think these things. I'm like, well, are they trying to influence us, like, you know what I'm saying, us the listeners, us the music people? Because it's not a secret that the record companies do try to influence the masses with the music. They shift the genres, you know what I'm saying? Like when people say, oh well, Kurt Cobain knocked Michael Jackson off of like the record charts, it's like, no, the record industry wanted the music to turn that way, like, you know. So I was just wondering if this was like a whole big thing to like influence the people. So it was really giving me a very bad taste in my mouth. And having known music for so many years, like I've seen that formula, quote unquote formula or story before.
Yeah.
So I was just like, this is another Bobby and Whitney. This is another Sid and Nancy. Like, this is just, like, you know, how am I supposed to like this? Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
But it's very unfortunate.
Yeah, that's why the story is so sad. Like, this is obviously a tragic story. It's not a happy story, because she was such a talented person that was just gone way too soon.
Yeah.
And so this is actually kind of funny though. So her husband got locked up.
Yes.
For like punching a bartender or some shit. Some stupid drug addict shit to do. Honestly.
You gotta punch him.
And then she divorced him while he was in jail.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's kind of crazy. And then, like, I don't know, did that help her mentally, or did that make her sad? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Because things didn't really get better after that.
No, I think she just she started realizing that he was part of the problem, and then it probably just wore on her, you know, having to go visit somebody in jail and then seeing somebody like that all the time. You know, it's just like, she probably just was over it. Like, you know, they got married, right? So, I mean, but they were kids. Like, you don't really pay attention to those vows and stuff like that. So it's for better or for worse, Amy. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, that's the thing is so crazy is like, they were really just kids, because she died when she was 27. Like, I'm 27 now and I still feel super young.
Yeah.
So it's like, I always like, I don't even think about that shit, because she died, I was young. So, like, she was just an adult to me. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But now when you think about it, you look back and like, oh, she was only 24 and had 8 Grammys or whatever. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, there's not many people that would handle that well. Obviously, she could have handled it probably a little better.
A little bit better.
But most people in that situation, like, something's gonna break. If you were saying, like, you had a Tupac example. Yeah. That's another... I didn't really think about that either. It's like, if you're at that point and and just doing what you love has brought you to that point, and now it's like there's so many other things. Everyone's trying to influence you. Everyone's trying to like put their thoughts into your head and all this shit. Like, there's no way that doesn't get to you.
It does, yeah. And then you do have a break, because not even just the fame, like besides the fame and the people, right? Oh, can you sign this autograph? Or, oh my God, there she is. Besides that, when you're like 20, 18, 19, whatever, and you just get your first job, think about your first job and how you have to constantly deal with your boss and all this stuff like that. You usually give those jobs about 1.5 years, 2 years, and then you're fucking out of there, right? Because you can't take that shit anymore. And now imagine she has to do that because it's the music business. So she's got to sign contracts, investors, this meeting, promote that, do this, that. So you got to do all of that. So imagine she has to keep doing it. Not just the 1-2 years at 18, 19, 20.
Right.
You know, when normal people are just like, fuck this, I'm out of here, I need a break or something like that.
Yeah.
She has to keep going and going. Imagine if they make you keep doing that job over and over. Like, no, Dan, you can't quit. No, Sifa, you can't quit that job. I know you're only 19, but you got to keep going. You got to do it every single day. There would definitely be a break.
Yeah. And that's just another thing of just like the industry. I mean, the industry is not good for artists. Like, everybody knows, especially like, I mean, at this point, that's such a well-known thing. Back in the day, you might not know, like, because you might not, that information might not really be out there.
Right.
But now it's just understood. I mean, this shit, it's just all about money. They don't care about the artists as people. They care about them as a product.
Yes.
And that's really it.
Yes.
So then, again, this all starts with the music that she had inside of her. Like, that is something, you can't fake that.
Right.
Right? Like, that, everybody that's ever heard it knows that's real. That lives within her. So she's just doing this shit, and then she's so famous all of a sudden, and then everybody's trying to push her, and there's just all this fucking shit. Yeah, like you're saying, now it's like a job. Like, it goes from like, oh, like, I just want to write my songs, to now, like, I have to do this. I have to do this. And it almost, you know, I'm sure it takes some of the fun out of it.
Right.
And then you're at a situation, you're like, oh, I'm just doing what I always loved, and now I'm not getting the same joy out of it anymore.
Right.
And like, some people cope with the things in different ways. Maybe she's like, I'm gonna fucking up my drug intake.
Exactly. Yeah. Some people just get bitter and mean, like Frank. Like Frank Sinatra. You just get mean. Tell him to back the F up and get away from you.
I feel like he was kind of always like that, though. Because, like, he wasn't going to let anyone fuck with him at any point. You know, even when he was, like, before he was famous, you know what I mean? Like, he would have stabbed a motherfucker, I feel like.
Oh, definitely. We talking Jersey here.
Yeah. But that's funny, but...
Yeah. You become... you get the look like Bruce Willis has on his face. He is done.
Oh, yeah.
He's done.
He's so over it. But that's with decades and decades.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that's crazy. Like, you think about the chronology. Is that's the word, right?
Yes.
So her first album was like 2004.
Yeah.
And she was dead in 2010.
Yeah.
Something like that. That's only 6 years.
It's nothing.
That's a 6-year run. Like, that's a lot of things happening really fast.